This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by $1 Million Crolla, Anthony Crolla here in Bolton at Gallagher's Gym. Anthony, how you doing?
What's happening? No, all good, mate. All good. Just a good session with the boys and Tasha then. And yeah, now off to the other gym, sort of boxing. I thought I would be at home a lot more since retiring, but I think I'm out the house more than ever.
Obviously, we've been meaning to try and catch up for a while now. This first time we've been able to. There's a lot to catch up on, but we'll try and cram it in because I know Liam Smith's waiting to catch up first. How is the new gym setup going? I know that's something you're trying to set up at the minute.
To be fair, it's been an absolute nightmare. But so obviously at the start of lockdown, lost the gym in a fire. We was in a building what got burnt down. So I've been really sort of lucky in the way that people have been like letting us use their gym. There's been plenty of offers. But like at the minute now, we had one place, and we agreed everything, got the ball rolling, everything what we was looking to buy, me and a mate, and that the people sort of their health wasn't the greatest who was selling it, so I think they wanted rid as well and was holding on, and then we were sort of everything was good, checks was coming through all good, and then the council had some ridiculous ground rate that you had to pay them. And then we thought, obviously, they're going to lower it, being an amateur club, taking kids off the street in the area. But, every credit to them. Fair play, they didn't. They were stubborn as hell, sort of. And they get, pointing us down the route of funding, but we didn't really have time for that with the sellers and stuff like that. So that was annoying. And the plays we've seen the other day where someone beat us by about 10 minutes, half an hour into, getting that. But listen, the time we'll find the right place, so we're just on the lookout for a place. It's hard because with an amateur club as well, it's got to be in a certain, area and stuff like that. But that'll come. So as for now, I'm all over different gyms.
Obviously, just away from the amateur gym, you are attempting to set up. You are training as well with the guys now, and the girl and Tasha Jonas. Yeah. How are you finding kind of trainer's life?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I think I'm out more than ever, but I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, I feel like I learn a lot from Joe. It's brilliant to be alongside my stable mate or my former stable mates, sort of almost daily. And a few fighters of my own that I'm really enjoying working with. I believe, I always say it, I just want to get the best out of them, improve them, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Let's obviously just start working through the gym and what everybody does or did have lined up. Start off with Callum Smith. Callum was obviously looking to get that Canelo fight, and about a week ago it came out that Canelo's taking legal action against Dazn and Golden Boy De La Hoya, what have you. What do you make of that situation first and foremost?
Of that situation, it just seems a very mad setup. There's obviously been problems there for a bit. It did seem a very odd sort of contract. I've not seen the contracts, I know nothing, but stipulation of who he fights or who he doesn't fight, and paying him an extortionate amount of money. I know he's the biggest name in the sport, but still. And then I saw something pop up last week, said 2 UFC fighters was seemed as sort of
an
elite fights. But again, I get it. I think Eddie might have said it in an interview, I'm not sure, but as mental as it is, it's the world we live in. If Canelo fought Masvidal, it would do stupid numbers, and we'd get the same people again saying about the McGregor Mayweather. It was just mad. So I just think that hopefully we just want to see him back boxing, don't we? And obviously, I'm sure Golden Boy do as well. Obviously disappointed that Callum didn't get it. So it didn't happen for Callum. But also, listen, Billy Joe as well looked like he was going to get it in May. He's been really unlucky as well. But as for Callum, listen, I'm just happy to be helping out alongside of him, working with him. He's a great fighter. He's someone I always tell a lot of young amateur boxers to watch because he's so correct. And I just hope he gets a date soon. I think, he's been out long enough. I know a lot of fighters have been out through the thing, but hopefully something will come up for him very soon.
Time certainly seems to be kind of ticking on for Callum now, certainly a super middleweight at least. This next fight, does it either have to be a unification or the Canelo fight, if it could be made?
I think that Callum just wants big fights, talking to Callum, he wants the big fights, so whether it be a unification or a Canelo fight, it's got to be something worth for him to really get up for. And we'll see. Listen, we'll see what happens, and hopefully that can happen. There's plenty of big fights to be made out there. I know some of the fights were different promoters, but there's certainly some big fights to be made out there. So it'd be a massive shame if none of them happened for him at super middleweight.
So Beefy back in the gym as well today. He's obviously waiting for yourself to finish the week and do an interview. How's Liam looking, and what exactly should Liam be expecting kind of for the rest of his year?
I think it's one of them. Liam looks well. He always looks well. So in the gym, he's the kind of fighter who can get in there when he's hardly been in the gym and whack 6-8 rounds of sparring out. He's very good at it. But he's I think he's the sort of same. He's on the verge of another world title shot, and he just wants to. I think now he's just sort of waiting on a date as well, and hopefully he gets out before the end of the year. Like you say, you've seen he's in the gym, but he's like you say, he's on the cusp, isn't he? He's on the cusp, whether it be some kind of eliminator. Obviously, the Kell fight got mentioned a bit. Kell looks like he's going to get the Crawford fight, so Liam obviously will go down another route. But yeah, he's sort of in that position where he's on the verge of another world title shot or some kind of final eliminator. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
You mentioned Crawford there, obviously. Kell Brook there. He was in line, well not in line, but he's mentioned to face Liam Smith, and now all of a sudden it seems to be Crawford's back on now, or Crawford Brook. What do you make of it? If Kell gets that fight over the line, what do you make of that?
Listen, I'm a big fan of Kell. I'm a huge fan of Crawford in the pound for pound list, but I'm a really big fan of Kell. I think he's so talented, unbelievable timing, but I don't believe he's a welterweight, and I've said it all along. I think Crawford's got a claim right up there during the top 1, 2, 3. Pound for pound, in my opinion, I think he's fantastic. I favour him to beat Spence, who's a great fighter, but I just think with Kell, I just worry. I mean, listen, he's at a great gym and that, but I just don't believe welterweight is his weight anymore. He's a big man. He's a big man, and for him to get down, getting down one thing and performing is the other. But I mean, listen, like I say, he's great seeing around him in the Ingle camp, and I'm sure if they didn't feel he could do it, they won't put it in for the fight. But there's no denying it's a worry he's not made weight since the Spence fight. And he, like I say, he's a very big man.
Moving away from the welterweight division and all the way up to light heavyweight again, Jose Burton getting ready to fly out to Latvia. Will you be joining him?
I will be. Looking forward to it. I've never been to Riga before. Heard some good things about it. Nice city and that. But Olfi for me is one of those fighters who he just deserves something big from the game. He's stuck with it. I think there's been a few times where he's felt like walking away because the chances, the opportunities, haven't come for him. I mean, you got to remember with Olfi, he's lost one fight, which he was winning clearly, but it was a superhuman effort from Frank Buglione, and you've got to take your hat off to him. For that, it was unbelievable the way he was still in there, and then to come back and win it. But so he's only lost the once, and I said at the start of the tournament, he looks really well in the gym. Olfi performs. I said it from the start. He wins that tournament and wins it well. The Telniks, he looked very impressive last time out, but I think one you could say he caught Stephen Ward cold, and also, Stephen's a great lad, a lovely lad and that, but he was definitely struggling with the weight. I think it's come out since. I think that probably played a part in it. So but going over to Latvia, you imagine it's going to be hostile. But Olfi's been around a long time, and he's worked too hard in this sport not to let something like the hostile crowd get to him and stuff like that. He's got to go out there, win well. But I believe he does that. And I just like I say, I've said it all along. Olfi performs in that tournament. I believe he's the best fighter in it, and he wins it. And I like some of the lads in it. Liam, he's a good lad and that. But Olfi, I think for him to win next Saturday and to win the golden contract, set him up with something to be deserved from the sport. He's dedicated his whole life to it from being an 11-year-old boy.
What should we actually expect from that fight? What are you guys actually looking at in Bilotniks to bring?
Obviously, there was very little to see from him with the Stephen Ward fight, other than come forward, pressure fight, heavy-handed. But be watching stuff, and there's other qualities that he does have. He's going to train for this fight like never before. He's got the TV and Latvia backing him. It's but I think there's no denying. I think if you look at the two of them, as Olfies, you can't imagine Olfies. Listen, you don't want to give too much away. You might take centre of the ring. You might not be able to box on the back foot, but you don't expect Olfies to go out hunting him down and Batelnik's to be on the back foot, just looking at them both. But Olfies got to be very switched on from the start. Like you said, we've seen it with the Stephen Ward fight. He's heavy-handed, starts fast. And Olfies got to go out there, carry the game plan out, and if he does it, I believe he wins, and he wins well.
Just to move on from that one, and just to kind of get your thoughts on a couple of fights in the lightweight division, which are kind of coming up. Something which I in particular wanted to touch on with you previously. Start off with a fellow Brit of ours, Luke Campbell, getting ready to face Ryan Garcia. Just talk to me about that one, Anthony. What do you make of it?
It's a great fight, and I remember when Liam fought Mungai. Meeting Garcia, I was talking to him, and he was away from any cameras and stuff, and he was like, I'm fighting. He was fighting around a month or something after that, and then he says, "Then what fight Tank?" He was away from all the cameras. He said, "I want the Tank fight," and not wrong at the time. I thought, listen, you don't need that yet, especially with the following he's got and all that. But I didn't know if this fight was going to happen with Luke Campbell, because Luke, he's a quality operator. As for, I don't think it's going to happen, but it does. It looks like it's going to happen. I think it's a great fight. It's one of them, and I think it's a great fight for Luke, because obviously he's had 2 tough world title challenges with Linares and Lomachenko, but Garcia's profile is huge, and the lightweight is such a tough division. Do you know, when you look the obvious one in Lomachenko, or whether Linares is going to come back down. But Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, you start going with Gervonta Davis. And listen, on paper, out of them, you'd probably say Garcia might be the best fight for Luke. And also with that, the huge profile comes because of the star that Garcia is. There's no denying. And one thing I respect about Garcia taking the fight is, he can just put a few posts out a week and earn a fortune. Do you know, on social media? That's the way the world is now. So I do think Garcia's for real. I think he can fight, but I believe it might be a bit too soon. Luke seems to be working, fantastic with Shane McGuigan, who seems a great coach. So I favour Luke. I favour Luke to win, but it's a great fight, like I said, and I think hats off to both guys, because obviously, I'm never one of them like, a loss can change it. I know if things didn't work out for Luke, he'd have to reassess things. But then obviously with Garcia, like, the bubble would have burst a bit, and Luke's a quality fighter to be taking that kind of risk. I just think sort of, the amateur pedigree and stuff will come through. And Luke's obviously developed into a fantastic professional, but I fancy him to win maybe late on.
Another fight lightweight, which was announced a matter of days ago, Lomachenko-Lopez, that undisputed title fight in the middle of this pandemic. Not just how happy are you to see a fight like that, but also what should we expect?
Yeah, every credit. I think I've seen it's not even on pay-per-view either over there in America, is it? I don't think so. So, credit to them. What do I reckon? I think Lopez is a fantastic fighter. I think Top Rank have matched him really well. I just believe Lomachenko, I'd favour him over any lightweight in the world. And it seems like, but I mean, that could end up suiting Lopez a little bit. It seems a little bit of needle. Do you know, Lomachenko doesn't say too much, but he goes, Lopez talks, and he talks, and he talks. And I've just got a feeling that he's going to put it on him, early. Very sharp, sort of ruthless. Obviously he's got to be careful, which he will be, because there's no denying the power that Lopez carries. But I see a really entertaining fight, and I see an exciting Lomachenko. And like I said, I believe Lopez is for real. I like him a lot. But just after the halfway stage, I see Lomachenko catching up with him. But I think it's going to be exciting. Listen, I won't be surprised if Lopez lands once or twice and earns the respect to Lomachenko, possibly buzzes him. But I fancy Lomachenko to win in an exciting fight.
Just a couple of other quick fights to get your thoughts on before I let you shoot off, Anthony. Moving up to heavyweight, Povetkin 2 announced yesterday. What are your thoughts on that? And are you surprised that Dillon's decided to step straight back in?
I'm not surprised because of the guy that Dillon seems, proper fighter. He wants that fight. My thoughts on it, obviously the first fight he was boxing lovely. He was looking really good. And he got caught with an unbelievable shot. I've seen a few people say a lucky shot or once in a lifetime shot. It was a beautifully executed shot, and that can't ever be denied. He looked for that shot. He was going for the left hook to the body off the jab throughout the night. I know he'd been put down a few times. He wasn't on the back foot under massive pressure when he landed the shot. It was a beautifully picked punch, and unfortunately for Dillon, it landed. And 14 weeks later to be back in the ring, after a knockout like that. I think, do you know what? I lean towards Dillon, yeah. I lean towards Dillon, but I think he's going to be a lot more cautious. Do you know what I mean? I think it's hard to say. Listen, he was doing a job, wasn't he? He was doing a job just before he got caught. But I think it'll be a lot more sort of discipline, sort of controlled performance. He'll box on the back foot, very wary, and I think at some point after the halfway stage, he'll land, he'll hurt Povetkin and maybe stop him late on. Listen, Povetkin's not getting any younger. I mean, we've seen that in the fight at times. He looked slow at times, but he still looked very technically correct. And won the Olympics in 2008. He's been around an awful long time, but like you say, it was a beautiful punch that he landed. It was an unbelievable knockout, and you can't rule him out. But I lean towards White.
Do you think we need to see the more aggressive and raw side of Dillon in the rematch? Going back to when he dropped Povetkin twice in that fourth round. In the past, we'd have seen him jump on him.
I get your point there, but Povetkin sort of found his feet pretty quick and knew that boxing. So I don't think you can blame Dillon for that. And I think we're going to see a much more cautious Dillon. Might be wrong. I mean, the character is he might just go for it, but it was. I just think he'll look to break Povetkin up rather than to. Listen, similar tactics. I think it'll be similar tactics, but he'll just have to be a little bit more switched on.
Final question out before I let you shoot off. I've read up, and by all accounts, I think Dillon had a 28-day medical suspension.
Yeah.
Dex Spellman, for his loss against Yard, got 45 days. What do you make of that?
I think it's wrong. It's wrong. There's no denying that. It's you can't have a fight like that. And as much as, he's had 2 fights pretty quick, Deck, with Linden and Yarde, to get a 45-day suspension when he was protesting the stoppage, and Dillon, as bad as it sounds, was out on the floor, cold. It just seems a very strange one. Just a very bizarre decision. But listen, the board, like you say, I like. I think they do right. Our boxers, they make the odd mistake. I think, just for instance, I like Conor Benn, I like Chris Jenkins, but how Liam Taylor's not been granted an immediate rematch is just madness. It's just bizarre, and no one can say otherwise. There's no point you could possibly put for that. Like I say, I like both lads, but I'm not because Liam's a local lad, but you can't be winning a fight and be stopped by an accidental. The fight stopped. The champion, he stopped. He was down, so he keeps his title. Rightfully so. He stopped an accidental head clash, but then not be granted an immediate rematch. I just think, at what point did that get passed off? But listen, no, the board, they look after everyone the best they possibly can. So it's certainly not a dig at it, but they're just 2 incidents where you think it's a bit strange. But yeah.
And we'll leave that there and we'll leave you to shoot off. I appreciate your time. Good to catch up indeed.
Always,
Thanks, Speak to
mate.
Boxing Social.
Take care.
No.